Well, hey folks, it's your old pal, King Krampus. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Out there on the internet, there is a faction of individuals who are constantly scouring social media, film, television, corporate press releases, and, the words and policies of various elected officials around the world, searching for any sign of offense against their particular identity group, or sometimes even on behalf of hypothetical people and their identity groups. They're very concerned about sexuality, and oftentimes when they themselves get a chance to have a heavy influence on the production of media, it tends to come out a little lackluster, shall we say, to be generous, i.e., not very good. And I'm, of course, talking about the anti woke right wing entertainment sphere of the internet, which is every bit as woke as the woke. To be anti something is to be identical to that thing. And for much the same reasons why I don't align myself with anti racists, because being racist is not going to solve racism, and I don't align myself with anti fascists because being fascist is not the way to fight fascism. Being anti woke is not the way to fight wokeness. In fact, the people who are anti woke are every bit as woke as the woke. Let's say woke one more time. 2, 3, woke! I mean, it's fairly obvious at this point. When The Last Jedi came out, I thought it was a thought-provoking movie. It's certainly flawed. I mean, Disney has still not quite figured out exactly how to make a Star Wars. But I found it a big improvement over the nonsense that The Force Awakens was, and I was quite happy to finally, it was the Sunday of opening weekend, I'm going to go home, finally get on the internet, not have to worry about spoilers, and oh my god, the internet was on fire. So I was curious as to what the actual problem was. It couldn't just be that a bunch of people who played with Luke Skywalker action figures are just in a tizzy because Luke Skywalker died and it wasn't a very satisfying death. It couldn't just be that. They had to have real legitimate reasons, why they hate all this. And so it's been 5 years now of listening to people talking about Hollywood agendas and all the terrible things that they're doing to you personally. They're shitting on men. They're shitting on white people. All this kind of stuff. I don't know. You're constantly scanning all the media for watchwords and dog whistles and looking to turn things that have nothing to do with you into some sort of personal attack against you and anyone who resembles you on a certain axis of characteristics. And I don't really see how that makes them any particularly different than the teenagers on Twitter who are doing the exact same thing. To be anti-something is to be identical to that thing, but with a negative charge. With maybe the one exception of, the anti-pope, pretty much anything that's anti-something is the mirror image of it, and is so similar to it as to be the thing. And if you remove the thing that it is the antithesis of, it becomes the thing. If racism was destroyed, anti-racism just becomes racism. If fascism is destroyed, anti-fascism becomes fascism. If all the matter is destroyed in the universe, the antimatter is now the matter. And if you were to somehow erase woke from society, well, it's now the anti-woke people who are the ones being woke. And it's, a little tiring for a while there. I was, like I said, for 5 years, been really trying really hard to, give a legitimate a chance to people to explain their position on why all these properties are terrible. And in a lot of instances, there's enough things that actually are technically flawed with these products where, you can see the point. But unfortunately, as time has gone on, it's become more and more entangled with things that really, aren't the problem with these products. Until now, in the last few months, there's just been a string of shows where the reactions to them are just kind of unhinged and are kind of losing their own plot. And making it increasingly hard to view people's critiques as being legitimate because of the things that they're choosing to get hung up on. And that makes it hard for people to levy legitimate criticism at these things now, because unfortunately you're going to get lumped in with all these people who are reacting to it because of, political identity factors instead of just, bad storytelling. It's also causing people to declare things bad for absolutely no reason. Obviously, I've been doing Willow reviews. I've been quite enjoying Willow. But the internet's not. And largely just because certain key figures in the whole chain of cascade of information that you see on places like YouTube and elsewhere, the people at the top of the pack have made declarations that Willow is destroyed. Willow is a disaster. Don't you know Nerdrotic thinks Willow is a disaster? Well, if Nerdrotic thinks so, then it must be true. No. Willow's fine. Obi-Wan was quite fine. The complaints about... I've just now finally gotten around to watching it. I stalled on that one for a bit, and I'm watching it, though, and I'm like, what was the problem with Reva? Exactly. Why are people annoyed that Obi-Wan Kenobi's sad? He's spent 10 years on a desert planet after everyone he knew in the universe was murdered by their own soldiers. So obviously he should be out there being really positive and happy-go-lucky out there in the desert. Oh my God, Princess Leia's in the show. She's just supposed to be a side character with barely any dialogue. How dare they? They try to develop her a little bit and show her when she was a kid. Oh my God, how terrible! And they cast a precocious young girl to play her. No. I mean, obviously, the whole concept that there's such a thing as alpha and beta males is kind of a non-existent thing we've just sort of invented because of our own ignorance and misinterpretation of how wolf packs act and all that kind of stuff. But if they were true, if there was really such a thing as a Giga Chad, are they really going to be bothered by this kind of shit? Is Willow really the thing that's going to fucking ruin your day? Because it's shitting on men? Oh no. I would feel that a real manly man would not be bothered by any of this shit at all. They probably are not watching Disney Plus when it comes right down to that. They're probably doing something manly with their lives. And just, it's just in recent months, I don't know, it's something has changed. The tone has changed. It's becoming more unhinged. It's becoming easier to see that the base platform upon which all these complaints are built is just the inverse of the other side's shit. And even as far as these blanket declarations of the left is doing this and the left is doing that, just because some fucking dumbass teenagers and college age kids now have the capacity to air their stupid teenager and college age kid opinions on social media so that more people can see them. You're according to my channel analytics, odds are high that you're fairly closer to me in age than you are someone who's a teenager. There's a few of you out there, but most of you seem to be 30 plus. Travel back in time with your minds, back to when you were that age, slightly before social media, and think of all the pretentious bullshit nonsense that you used to spout back then. Well, just imagine if you had lived in a world where you were given a microphone and, were able to permanently etch these profound teenage wisdoms upon the world and then have a bunch of grown-ass men overreact to it the way they are. I don't know, there's a point where it's just really starting to seem that it's basically just kind of like some, what was that old show, The Rascals, The Little Rascals, where Stuffy, oh God, it had the little dog with the spot on his eye, and it was just some kid's show in black and white. It's where that character Alfalfa came from, that Eddie Murphy used to make fun of on Saturday Night Live in the 80s. I think it was the Little Rascals. Well, they had a whole thing in there where, like this ardent boys club, girls club kind of shit going on. And I kind of feel like that's basically the kind of phenomenon that's happening. Now, is it individually on people that they're still kind of weirdly childish at the age they are? I mean, hell, I'm in my mid 40s and I'm dressed up as Santa Claus and talking at my phone on my porch as if there's actually people here I'm conversing with, and not just really just kind of talking to myself on some sort of level. I'm not coming at this as a case of like I'm throwing stones from my vaunted hill. I'm just pointing out that if I could see these traits in other people. We were all encouraged as children to not really fully grow up, and so we still want to consume these products and these entertainments, that we're familiar with. But like some of the expectations, like in Willow in particular, like what exactly is it that people wanted from Willow that it's not doing? Did they want Willow recast with Brad Pitt? So you can have a nice manly action star Willow instead of him being a humble, kind of ineffective guy just like he was in the original movie. Willow is not Gandalf, he's supposed to be kind of bumbling, and that's part of his charm. I'm just like, someone had left a comment like this, just like rather unhinged on the subsurface comment. I mean, on the surface, it was, the sentence structure was correct. There wasn't anything misspelled. But there's just this unexplainable anger going on under the surface with that, and a lot of people. Also, not to mention the fact that, like, most of the things being said in it, like, you can kind of tell what YouTubers that person watches based on the opinions of other people that they're repeating as if they are their own opinions and conclusions. It's like, oh, well, obviously you just watch Film Threat and Midnight's Edge, because I've heard this exact same shit fall out of those people's mouths days ago. So congratulations. Using other people's talking points to puff yourself up on the internet and make yourself out like you're some sort of intellectual genius. I mean, also, just the people complaining about Willow, it's like, obviously you have not seen Quantum Leap. The new Quantum Leap, now that's a terrible, terrible show. Willow is like Jane Eyre by comparison in terms of the writing quality and the characterization, and so it just I don't know. Problem with doing daily grind videos is I've what is there to be said about D&D that hasn't already been said into the ground? Or what is there to be said about a lot of things that haven't been said into the ground? There's a lot of video subjects I don't really even bother going on about because there's already other people out there who are saying the things that I would want to say anyway. So, like, how am I contributing to the conversation? But, like, all this anti-woke stuff is just becoming increasingly just its own version of being woke, and that's not helpful. It's better just to be not something and to just take things as they are and learn to like them. And if you don't like it, quit watching it. And, if Disney is doing all this terrible stuff to you, hypothetically, then why on earth are you paying them? Why are you paying them this much attention? Why are you watching people's videos, breaking it down? If you don't like it, then move on to something you do like and pay attention to that. You're just wallowing in misery. Obviously some of it's just kind of a byproduct of how the internet's designed and because of the feedback loops of getting people to click on shit. But, how much of, our current state of ennui and misery in society is entirely self-inflicted because we just can't help but keep touching that sore tooth, even though we know we shouldn't. I don't know. I guess there's really no point to any of this. No one's really going to listen. Because everyone's already made up their own minds, now have you? Get woke, go broke, or be anti-woke and be anti-broke, I guess. I don't know. It's all the same fucking creature. If you really want to, fight this horrible call for people to be not persecuted for various things, then just dropping all of this is the way to go. But because one group of people is constantly scanning everything for offense, doing the exact same in reverse to them does not make you a better person. It's not the alpha male way. It's not the sort of thing that a true Giga Chad would be doing with themselves. They'd be off getting laid, and I think that's probably the real thing that underlies a lot of this stuff. Is there's just a lot of people who could use a little bit of pussy, and they'd probably feel a lot better about a lot of things. But you get into this negative spiral that makes it harder and harder to be a person that's gonna really be attractive to members of the opposite sex, now are ya? And you've walled yourself off from entertaining the notion of engaging with same-sex stuff or transgender stuff. So you're just kind of stuck there alone with your dick in your hand now, aren't you? So I don't know. Food for thought. Have a Merry Krampus and stay waspinated.